So, where do I even begin? Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today's video is going to be about my daughter Ella's kind of my pregnancy experience, my birth story, and then kind of her story. So, where do I even begin? It's kind of a long story. I will try to make it as kind of short, but leave in most of the details as much as I can. But let's see. So I found out I was pregnant with Ella in January, and it was right after we actually went on like a little cabin vacation trip. So I came home after that because I was having like very weird symptoms, kind of having heartburn and stuff like that, and I never have had heartburn before in almost in my entire life. So I was like, this is very, very weird. So I got home and I was like, oh, I don't have any pregnancy tests, so I'm gonna have to get one. And my husband was home. It was like a Sunday, and I was kind of trying to hide it, but he was like, oh, why do you need to go to the store or whatever right now? It was kind of late at night after dinner, and so I was like, I could not keep it to myself. I was kind of too excited. I'm pretty sure he'd probably figure it out. And I was like, I think I might be pregnant, so we need to go to the store. And he was like, let's go to the store. So we pick up a pregnancy test. I come home and I take it, and there's a super faint line. And at first I was like, is this like an indent line, or is this for sure a positive pregnancy test? So I still didn't know. I took a digital and it said not pregnant. So I was like, maybe I'm not. Maybe it's just I'm thinking these symptoms in my head. Maybe I'm not. So the next morning, I think it was like a Monday morning, I take a pregnancy test and I see the line, and I was like, okay, that's definitely a line, so I'm for sure pregnant. And I did take a digital and it came up pregnant. So I was like, oh, I can't even keep this in any longer. I need to tell him. So we kind of found out together because I couldn't hold it in any longer. At this point, it was like kind of Monday evening, and I was like wanting to surprise him in some type of cute way, but I was just too excited. So I was like, you know what, I will just tell him right now. And we were both excited. But so after I found out I was pregnant, I called my doctor and scheduled an appointment, and at this point I was like maybe 9 weeks, and so it was probably February, mid-February, and I went to the appointment. Everything went well. I saw the baby, we saw the heartbeat, and it was the cutest thing ever. And she's like, everything looks good, you look healthy, baby looks healthy, everything is good to go. So we were like, sigh of relief, everything is fine and good and baby's healthy. And so that's when I decided to tell mostly people on like social media and stuff like that. My family, actually, I told them on my birthday, and so that was a couple weeks before that appointment, and I got to surprise them for my birthday that I was pregnant. And so a couple weeks after the ultrasound appointment, we had, I think, a midwife appointment or something like that, and then came up the 20-week anatomy scan. And I think if you're a first time mom, and maybe just in general, I don't know, but I feel like everyone gets a little bit nervous when it comes to this anatomy scan. And oh, mind you, we already found out Ella was a girl. I did the sneak peek DNA at 12 weeks, and so we did find out she was a girl. So this was kind of to confirm it, what I already knew. I was in disbelief that she was a girl. I thought the whole time she was going to be a boy. And so this anatomy appointment, I asked the ultrasound tech like 4 times probably, are you sure it's a girl? She's like, yes, it is a girl. And so halfway through that anatomy scan, I felt like our ultrasound technician was kind of being quiet, but I feel like the whole thing's pretty routine for them anyways. And I noticed by how long she took at the appointment, I had a gut feeling like, oh, I wonder if they found something or something's off or whatever it was. And at the end of the appointment, she came in and said, I'm gonna need the doctor to come in and check a couple things. And at that point, me and my husband looked at each other and we were like, oh, this is not good. I mean, we were trying not to think of the worst. Maybe it was just something small. Maybe she can't get a good picture of something. And so the doctor came in and kind of explained to us, well, these are a couple of things that I'm seeing. And what she told us was your placenta has, I think it's called a bilobed placenta, but basically I had a placenta and then like half of another placenta. And so she was like, it's not life-threatening, but we're gonna have to monitor you. And then she was like, there's also the cord. I had a 2-vessel cord, which means there's only 2 vessels in normal pregnancy. People usually have 3. So there's oxygen, food, and something else that you normally would have. Well, I only had 2. And so that brought up an additional complication. And then as well as they said they found she had a horseshoe kidney. And at that point I was like, okay, another thing? Like what else are you going to throw at me today? And at first we were kind of shocked. We didn't say anything. We just kind of looked at each other, taking everything in, just because we were so like, I guess just in shock at what we heard. I guess you go into these appointments and you pray and you hope you never hear anything wrong with your baby or with your pregnancy or anything. And unfortunately, that was not the case for us. And so she said, it's something that we're just gonna have to watch the rest of your pregnancy. You're considered at this point kind of high risk. So at that point I did change hospitals and I went to a bigger hospital and I was using I had a midwife, and then they switched me to a more of a doctor. And so I just felt more comfortable with that anyways, just in case any other things came during the pregnancy or anything like that. And so because we decided to not do genetic testing when you normally would at like 12 or 13 weeks, they came in afterwards and said, we suggest that you get a NIPT test and see if she has any other chromosomal problems or anomalies or Down syndrome, anything like that, just so you guys know now. And so we originally did not want to do the test because we were like, either way we're going to love this baby no matter what. And we did take the test, And I remember we were actually on our baby moon, and I was supposed to get a call from them on our trip when we were in Hawaii. And I felt like it was hard to be there a little bit in Hawaii, knowing that you're going to get a call and just praying and hoping that everything was going to come back okay. And it was kind of like you're on edge a little bit because you don't know what's coming. And so we actually did get a call, and they said something messed up with your blood work or whatever, so we couldn't figure it out, so you have to come in again and do the blood work again. So we had no answers, and I went in for another appointment to do blood work to redo the test. And I think only a couple days later, my doctor called me and was like, we didn't find anything. She looks great. She tested negative for Down syndrome and a couple other things as well. So we're like, okay, this is positive. We kept praying and hoping that the rest of the pregnancy was going to be okay. I know along with some of the things I had, they said, her growth can be kind of on the smaller side for these instances and for the stuff that you have. And so that's why I did get appointments a lot of the time too, just to check on her growth and make sure everything was okay. And at this point, honestly, like, my birth plan already kind of went out the door. I was like, whatever gives me a healthy baby and keeps us both safe is whatever that is, I'll do. And so in the back of my mind, I really didn't want a C-section, and I knew that was kind of coming. I was like, I wonder if these things will also affect my birth. And so they said, you know what, it shouldn't. She was still small at the time. I was only like 25 weeks, and she was sitting transverse, so that means kind of horizontally in your stomach. And so at that point, it didn't really matter. I mean, she had plenty of time to turn around to head down and stuff, but I just had a feeling. I was like, I don't know if she will. And at first I was like, this girl might be stubborn, just she wants to do her own thing, wants to do it her way. And most of my appointments, she was laying that way, but like I said, I wasn't really concerned about it at that point, because I was like, well, she has plenty of time to move and turn the other way to head down, so I think it'll be fine. And so I think after 28 weeks, maybe 30 weeks, I went in a little bit more regularly to check on the baby and to make sure everything was okay. Every time I went for an appointment, it was honestly always positive. I mean, I came out, they're like, everything looks good, the baby's growing how it's supposed to, and everything looks good. And so I was like, thank you, Jesus, thank you, everything's looking good, she's healthy, my body's doing what it's supposed to do. And kind of towards the end of the pregnancy, we did we monitored her heart. They did an ultrasound of her heart to make sure that everything looked good there too, and everything came back perfect. The only thing they were worried about was because my placenta and the cord was a little bit different than a normal pregnancy. They wanted to make sure she was growing properly as well, which the whole time, I mean, she was doing great. I think by my last appointment, they were actually saying that I was measuring 41 weeks at 39 weeks. So obviously baby girl was healthy. She was getting enough nutrients for sure. I don't know if that was more on me or her, but either way, I was like, you know what? As long as she's growing and getting what she needs, like, I am happy. She's healthy, so everything was looking good. And towards, I think it was my 36th week appointment is when I went in, and they checked like, okay, if she's not head down by now, then we are probably gonna have to schedule you to turn her or schedule a C-section. That was kind of it, because she at that point still did not turn. And because of my situation, it wasn't the best option to turn her. It was not, I guess you could say, safe for her probably. And even if we did do it, most likely it would have not worked a lot of the times. I'm not saying for everybody, but a lot of the times when people decide to turn their babies manually, I think it's only like maybe less than half of a percentage rate of it working. And so they were like, with all the risks and everything, it might just not be the best idea. So after that, I kind of freaked out and I was like, I really don't want a C-section. I tried acupuncture, I tried spinning babies, exercises, courses, everything that you could think of. I mean, I had my toes on fire, everything, literally everything. And nothing worked. And I was like, you know what? I prayed about it and I felt that that was just going to be the healthiest way and the safest way for my daughter to be born and for me. So I was like, just at peace with it at that point. I was like, okay, scheduled my C-section at 38 weeks, or maybe it was 37 weeks. And I had Ella at 39 weeks. And my C-section went well, the surgery went well. She was born healthy. She came out ready to go, grabbed the drape and was like, hello everybody, I'm here. And recovery was definitely not easy with the C-section, but I feel like my body did a good job of recovering and I felt good a couple weeks afterwards. And so our journey didn't stop there. After Ella was born, we had to do some blood work tests, get some ultrasounds done of her, make sure that she was healthy, and we routinely did a couple of things to check her kidneys to make sure there was no fluid, no nothing like that, to make sure there was no blood in her urine and everything. And we went to a additional ultrasound after she was born to make sure that, okay, she does have a horseshoe kidney. It's not anything that was hidden or something they couldn't see, because, an ultrasound when you're pregnant on the baby is sometimes maybe not that accurate. And so we wanted to also wait until she was born to get a full-on ultrasound on her to make sure that everything they said was accurate with what she had. And we went into that ultrasound appointment and they did find that she does have a horseshoe kidney. And so what a horseshoe kidney really is a kidney that is one kidney, and it's kind of like shaped like a horseshoe like this, and normal kidneys are usually like this and they don't connect. But hers is about like this, and it connects and is fused at the bottom. So she basically has one functioning kidney, and when we went to the ultrasound, that's what they confirmed. Like, yes, she does still have a horseshoe kidney, but there was no fluid in the kidneys, which is what they check for, or it wasn't super small or not developing or any of the big big red flags that they would normally look for. And so that was amazing. We were happy with that. Everything looked fine. She was doing good. She was healthy. And at that point we were like fully taking it in, like, okay, this is for sure real. This is what she has. This is something that she will live with for the rest of her life, but that doesn't mean that she can't have a healthy, normal life. And we were going to do everything that we can to help her in that way. And from to this point, to this day, we still do have to take her to ultrasounds and kidney appointments to make sure that they're functioning normally and functioning okay. And she goes and gets them checked and has appointments every 6 months until she turns 5. And so we actually just had her kidney appointment about a week ago, and they said the same thing. Everything looks good. One side is a little bit bigger than the other, but both of them together equal almost kind of like a normal sized kidney. So that is great. We are like, whatever, whatever it is, like as long as it's functioning and she's healthy and it's not completely affecting her, we try to do everything that we possibly can. Feed her good food, make sure she's drinking enough water, just all the things. We asked all the questions, like what can we do to make sure that she just has the best chances of keeping her kidneys healthy. And I know to some point she's going to get older one day, and I'm not always going to be able to be there to completely protect her from certain things, but hopefully, setting her up in a good way and, letting her know that this is what you have when she does understand it, that she's cautious herself, and just with anything with, if it bothers her, if she decides to play certain sports or the food that she's eating, just anything. We just want to give her the best chance at keeping her kidneys healthy, keeping her healthy, just like you would with any child. You want to do the best that you can for your child. And all this to say, it was definitely a overwhelming first time pregnancy experience, but the whole time, me and my husband were praying. We would pray over the situation every night. And all the doctors said, out of, all the things that you could have, this is like kind of in the top 10 of things that you can live a happy, normal, healthy life with. And she's been doing great. Nothing has really been affecting her. We're just watching her, making sure that they're growing properly. And every appointment that we've went to, she's been looking healthy, and I pray that it continues to be that way. And that's kind of Ella's story, and I hope that this encourages anybody who's going through a similar situation, or has went to their 20-week anatomy scan and has found that their child has a complication, or your pregnancy has a complication, or if you find out your child has Down syndrome. I just hope that this is encouraging to you that not all pregnancies go the same. Not all children are born the same, and we do with what we can and do the best that we can. And we are so blessed and so thankful that we have family, that we have friends. I know Ella's going to be supported through the rest of her life, and I know that we have a big God and that we pray for her all the time, and I know that is why that she is protected, that she's safe, that she's healthy. And I pray that for the rest of her journey and the rest of her life. And I hope this encourages anyone that might be in the same situation as us. We are blessed to have her here, and she's going to be healthy, and we're so blessed to be her parents. And yeah, that is kind of the story, and if this helps you or encourages you in any way, I hope that it does. And thank you for listening and hearing Ella's story. I will see you in the next video.